We're back for another episode of Hockey Talk. This is episode 5, I believe.
Episode 3.
Episode 3, I'm getting ahead of myself here. We got the Stanley Cup Finals starting tomorrow night from the beautiful city of Edmonton, Alberta. We're getting a rematch of last year's playoffs, which saw the Panthers take the game, home ice, game 7. No better feeling than that. Looking at the early lines for the series, Oilers slight edge on DraftKings minus 120, Panthers plus 100. Game 1 line has Edmonton minus 130, Florida plus 110. The bookies have this very, very tight right now. What do you guys think is going to be the key in this to win this series, especially for Edmonton if they want to get over that hump?
It's goaltending. Both teams have had good goaltending. Both teams have had awful goaltending. It's whatever goaltender gives you that extra save or is lights out, like we've seen both of them be.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't deny the fact that Edmonton has the two best players in the world on their team. It'll come down to Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, if they're able to drive the bus. They weren't really able to last year, and that got them down 3-0 in the series. And so if they can get out to a hotter start this year, I think that'll be a huge difference maker for the Oilers.
And close out the series. McDavid didn't have points in game 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So far in this playoffs, Edmonton has had the best offense in terms of goals per game. Florida's had the best defense in terms of goals against. Who would you say made the better improvements from last year's Stanley Cup final team? Which team got stronger than last year?
Ooh.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna lean Florida. Just the addition of Brad Marchand, I think, is such a huge piece to the Florida Panthers forward depth. Like, that's a legit NHL All-Star. He made Team Canada at the Four Nations. Yeah, he didn't play much, but he was still a part of that team, and he's now playing on the Panthers' third line. Whereas you look at the Oilers, yeah, they brought in Jake Wallman. He's been a great addition on the back end. Klingberg, has been solid lately. I mean, he's kind of a questionable guy, though. Like, they didn't bring in those key pieces that Florida was able to bring in. So I got to give the edge to Florida there. But, all Edmonton needs is 4 games of Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid to put the team on their back, like I just said. So you never know.
Yeah, the thing with Edmonton is the players that are showing up for them right now were also showing up for them last year. Even the Connor Brown, the Corey Perry, they were both solid in the playoffs. But the guys that they acquired aren't the guys you're going to get the points from. Klingberg and Wallman, like you mentioned, they've been solid. But I will lean Florida, just like you, because of Marchand, more significant. And even Seth Jones, he's been solid on the defense when he isn't their number one guy, which he was for a while when they had injuries. But yeah.
Yeah, I think if they didn't get Marchand, then it's probably Edmonton easily. But, I mean, when you get a piece like that, if it was Edmonton that got him,
If they didn't get Marchand, they might have lost
story.
to Toronto. He had some key goals.
Yeah, and as we know in the playoffs, the bottom 6 is really what separates the teams. So adding a piece like Marchand, do you think Florida still holds the advantage in the bottom 6 forwards?
Oh, 100%. Sorry, Keanen. You look at that third line, the Panthers' third line. It's Luostarinen, Lundell, Marchand. I think that rivals. If you've got a first line with Draisaitl and McDavid, I think that rivals the Oilers' second line. And I mean, the fourth line on either team is kind of a wash. Like, there's no one super key that's really going to be much of a difference maker, in my opinion. I mean, some guy could surprise you, and some guy will, because it's the Stanley Cup Finals. There's always that one fourth line guy that just surprises everyone. But yeah, I think looking at the forward depth, it's Florida all the way.
I lean Florida in the forward depth, but I think it's closer than you're giving them credit. Just the way the Oilers have played all around, all 4 lines, the way they've clicked since the halfway through that first LA series. Everyone has pretty much elevated their game, aside from maybe Trent Frederick and Jeff Skinner because he wasn't on the ice at all. But I think it's much closer than you're giving them credit for, because they played really well against both Vegas and Dallas, both the defensively and offensively good teams, and they've held their own, and to the point that they've looked better than some of Vegas and Dallas's stars. I mean, you can say the same for Florida and then Toronto and Colorado stars, but this is the finals. That's what it's supposed to be.
Dallas's stars, nice pun.
I didn't even think about that.
So, one of the big storylines, well, you talked about before, goaltending, but where do you think the leash is on Skinner in this series? What has to happen? When do they switch over?
I don't think you do in the finals. Like, is Pickard wasn't ever great. He just gave you that extra save. Stuart Skinner's the only one who has actually had good games, like really good games, won them games. Pickard didn't win them a game. He just gave them that extra save or two to keep them in the lead. I think you'd have to have back-to-back atrocious games from Skinner, like it was against LA.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think it's different because they're at home. So in game one, if he goes back to how he usually plays, lets a few in. I don't, game one not gonna get yanked, but maybe if they lose 5-1 at home in the first game, maybe they you have to win these games. It's not a we'll see how it is. You have to put the best team out there. I think it could be as early as the second game.
Oh, for sure, but I think it's the same thing. Like it happened in Dallas. He crapped the bed in game one and then was lights out the next 3 games. So there might be the thing like, oh, do we put him out there again because we've seen this story before?
The thing with the Dallas series, though, like they couldn't go back to Pickard for that,
That's
right?
true. That's true.
Yeah.
You have a longer leash on your starting goaltender when your backup is a guy who has no NHL playoff experience. Whereas Calvin Pickard, like you said, he didn't play outstanding. Like they were beating Vegas 6-5 with Calvin Pickard in net.
Yeah.
He wasn't like this unbelievable goaltender, but he was getting them wins. So I kind of agree with you, Spencer. Like if you get blown out in game one, it's a home game, you've got to come away at least with a tied 1-1 series going back to Florida. If you get blown out game one, you kind of have to take a look at Calvin Pickard and maybe he's your best option to get that second win. And then you can always go back to Stuart Skinner afterwards too.
Yeah, you can always pivot back. At least it gives him a chance to mentally reset and stuff like that. But I don't see that happening in the crease in Florida, at least. Bobrovsky's going to be in there whether he gives up 6 or none or whatever. Yeah. Maybe we'll go to our predictions, what we think is going to happen, who's going to win. How many games do you think it's going to be, and who do you think is going to take the Conn Smythe?
Okay, before we get to my prediction here, I just wanted to pull out this one stat, okay?
Yep.
So, in 1983, Wayne Gretzky with the Edmonton Oilers lost to the New York Islanders in the Stanley Cup Final. The next year, Wayne Gretzky won his first ever Stanley Cup in 1984 against the New York Islanders. In 2008, Sidney Crosby lost to the Detroit Red Wings in the Stanley Cup Final. 2009, he beats the Detroit Red Wings for his first ever Stanley Cup. Now it's Connor McDavid, loses in 2024 to the Florida Panthers, takes them on again in 2025, and I'm saying history's going to repeat itself for the third time. The superstar of the league is getting his first career Stanley Cup win against the team that he lost to in the prior year. I'm going with the Edmonton Oilers in 6 games here.
I'm in the same boat as you, Edmonton in 6.
Who's your Conn Smythe?
Oh, it's Connor McDavid.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't have Florida,
if he can win it and not be on the winning team, I'm sure if they win it, he'll be a big reason for it.
The only way it's not is literally if Skinner has 4 shutouts,
or if
games.
McDavid gets hurt,
or that. Like it would literally, they need to sweep and Skinner has 4 shutouts, and then you go, well, we have to give it to him.
Yeah, for me, I think I understand the hype around Edmonton and that, but if I'm looking at both the teams on paper, I think the Florida roster is better, and definitely a kicker in the playoffs is the goaltending, and I would trust Bobrovsky way more than I would, obviously, on the other side. Florida's deeper. I like their defense better. They seem to be resilient in every game they played. Not that Edmonton has. This should be a great series. But I think Florida's going to steal one in Edmonton early. I see it going 6 games, and Florida wins it on home ice. if they're going to win it like that, I think it'll probably be Matthew Tkachuk. He's going to have to score some goals for them. Bennett's been great for them, but if Tkachuk can take over a series and snap a couple, catch Skinner off guard and stuff like that, and pester it up a bit, he'll be big in the series. But this is going to be one heck of a series. Hopefully, on paper, you get close matchup and that, and then it could be a 4-game sweep. You never know, but looks like on paper this is going to be a fun series for sure. It's interesting too, looking at the point leaders all time in the playoffs, like where McDavid's sitting like 41st, I think, right now, 143 points, but he's only played 90 playoff games. Mm-hmm. So if, this seems like an easy record for him to smash. Like, most of these guys ahead of him are not even a point per game, and he's, easily and not quite double, but it's up there. It's just kind of crazy how, the efficiency of him and the talent and, how do you stay consistent over the years. And yeah, I wouldn't say he's had the best of playoffs, but there's no better time to show up than in the finals. No one will remember what happened in the first games. Not that he's played bad, but
yeah. Well, especially
go ahead.
Going into the finals well rested too. He might just shoot out of a cannon.
You never know too. And I was just looking too, Edmonton's a big power play team. The Panthers have the best penalty kill right now in the playoffs, 87.9%. Obviously special teams is a big battle, but I feel like both of these teams aren't a team to roll over or fold, even if they get down a few goals, especially Edmonton. Even when a team is up 3-0 on them or a 3-goal lead, it's never safe with Edmonton. They quick strike back, and this isn't a series you're going to turn the TV off if a team goes up a few goals. There's going to be a battle the whole way.
And the Oilers like to give up leads too, like we saw in Game 1 of the Dallas series.
Yeah. So never look away.
Yeah. Edmonton hockey's always been like that, though, in the McDavid era.
Yeah. It's not quite as bad as Leaf hockey, but it's getting close.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they win the games, though.
Yeah.
They'll blow the lead and then win 6-5 in overtime.
Yeah, it's kind of like how like Josh Allen was like always in the playoffs. Like, he does all the work, but like the defense just can't get that final stop. Like, the goalie just can't. Defense can't make that final save to secure it. Why don't we switch it up a bit? Go to more of a broader playoff approach. Who would you say is your unsung hero so far of the playoffs?
I'm gonna go with, I mentioned his line earlier. I'm gonna go with Luostarinen on the Florida Panthers. I mean, I think he's been great so far. It's a little bit unexpected. He's got 13 points in the playoffs. He's been a key piece, and that third line has just been such a driving force for the Florida Panthers in the playoffs this year. And it kind of makes me think, like, if Sam Bennett does walk in free agency, which people are saying, he might get $10 million somewhere, but I mean, that's an overpay for a guy like him. But if the Panthers aren't willing to match something like that, then you kind of have a security blanket with Anton Lundell and Luostarinen. So, yeah, I think he's been great in the playoffs this year, and it's just really promising for the Panthers' future that, they might lose a couple key pieces this offseason, but they've got guys in their organization that can fill those holes going forward, and this might not be the last time we see the Panthers in the finals.
I mean, I hope it is, but whatever. I mean,
I don't disagree with you.
This isn't even like a dig on Florida. It's just 3 straight. Come on.
Yeah. It's like when it was the Warriors Cavs every year in the
that
NBA
was worse
playoffs.
Because it was the same 2 teams going against each other. Like if it's Edmonton, I'm going to enjoy the finals this year. But if it's Edmonton and Florida again next year, I might be like, okay, this is a little ridiculous. Because it's going to be the same thing. They're both going to like coast through the regular season. Oh, are they bad now? And then go like 12-3 in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs.
Yeah. Who do you like as your unsung hero? Tregaskis?
I'll take an Oiler, which it'll be John Klingberg because the moment he was signed, everyone's like, "Oh, why are you doing this? Your defense is that bad," and he's been a solid defensive player for them throughout the 3 rounds of the playoffs, and a big reason why they don't allow a crap ton of goals like they have in years past. He's locked down. I think he's either the second or third pair, probably third pair, especially with Ekholm back. But
Yeah,
if
he's
you
on the
have
third
him
pair.
on the third pair playing the way he is, you're gonna lock down some teams and make players like Wyatt Johnston and Matt Duchene look bad. And I don't think either of them had a goal last series. Maybe Johnston, Duchene had one, but players like that on your third line defense, you're gonna be an unsung hero the way you're playing.
Yeah, and he was used to be, top pair defenseman with Dallas and started, you could see the wear on him, but he's found that fire back. They're gonna get another defenseman back too, probably. Ekholm is gonna come back.
Yeah, I said that.
Did you? Okay, shows how much I was listening when you.
Yeah, he played one game against Dallas.
Yeah, so he'll be getting back to full strength though, and he's probably still he's not 100%, but I mean that helps her back. And I'm gonna go with the Florida Panther because you guys have got all the Edmonton bias.
He chose a Panther.
Well, he's picking the Oilers to win though. That's okay. I don't got any skin in the game or money on this yet, at least. So I'm going Evan Rodriguez. Older player. Older player. Okay, maybe if this was the NFL, he's 31. But a slow start to the playoffs, but really turned it up in the Carolina series. He's not scoring, but he's ever setting up goals. He's he's playing on the top line, kind of a guy you want. Does it all, play the body. He can skate, he can pass for sure, shoot. He's not a liability. And I think you need players like him to not be passengers. I think you go in a lot of series with these B tier players, I would say, and they're passengers and they're just a waste of space. You see that a lot. But when players like the whole Florida team has stepped up and he's definitely helped push them over the hump, especially in that Carolina series. But I think we all chose 3 pretty solid players. Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting series, that's for sure. Who do you think is going to be the better road team, do you think? Who's better adapted to play on the road?
I'm going to give it to Edmonton because of the 2 fan bases. You're going into Florida, yeah, there'll be some noise, but some of it will be cheering for you. Florida's going into Edmonton, an even more desperate fan base than last year who've seen their team almost get eliminated in the first round. They're not going to hear themselves think.
Well, and the Albertans up in Edmonton are going to be happy to take a flight down to Florida
Oh,
and
yeah.
Oh, for
enjoy
sure.
the beach
Oh,
and hit a
100%.
playoff game, right? So,
Yeah.
like you talk about that in the NFL a lot, like which fan base travels. I think it's easily going to be the Oilers fan base traveling more than
Well, it
any
was
Panthers
last
fans.
year in Game 7.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it was like a split almost, or more
Yeah.
Edmonton almost, yeah.
All
But
that oil money.
well, I was just gonna say though that was before all we won't get into it, political stuff. So I don't know. I mean,
No, it's
that's
Edmonton. If
that's
it
a
were
blue
different-
province, so maybe
if it
it
were a
won't
different
impact
province.
it. But still a choice. Yeah, the one guy, the guy on my hockey team, he went to last year's playoffs. He's gone to this year's. He's been to Canucks playoff games. He said that Edmonton barn is the loudest probably in the whole league, especially.
Yeah, but he's an Oilers fan. He's
I
so
know
biased.
I know he says that, but I
Chuff.
believe him. I mean, what else did they got to do there, right? This is it. This is it for the season, and then they go back into hiding until next winter. So
I think I'd agree more because comparing it to the Canucks, they're more hopeful. We're more pissed off as fans.
yeah, a
More-
good way to
more
gauge
negative.
too fan is who's wearing how many jerseys and paraphernalia and stuff like that. The whole crowd in Edmonton's got a jersey on. If
Yeah.
you watch the Canucks playoff game, like they're all wearing suits or just
West
like
Coast
whatever on their
Toronto.
phone. Yeah, there's nothing, right?
Or if it's a regular season game, there's jerseys on the ice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
Or
Yeah,
a
I
Leafs
don't know.
playoff game.
any final bold takes on the series or something you're hoping to see I was hoping to see maybe, when they used to throw the rats on the ice in Florida, they bring those back from Marchand or something. If he scores, throw some rats on
Did they
the
do
ice
that in
maybe.
any of the previous rounds?
No, but they might be
Okay.
saving it for the finals. Probably not.
They're not going to
These
be any
Panthers
fans in
fans
there. They're
probably
playing
weren't.
a real hockey team now.
Yeah, they probably weren't familiar when that happened, but it was a scene. I don't think you guys were born, maybe. I don't know.
When was it?
In the 90s.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't.
No.
I think it
don't
was the
think
90s.
you guys are born.
I don't know. I might not even been born. I just seen the videos of it. You know what? Let's shift the gear then. Who do you think is poised next season to take the jump, and who would you say is your early prediction to be in the final next year?
Ooh, that is
Can we say
tough.
of non-finals teams?
Of
Just
non-finals teams, if
Yeah,
you had to
yeah.
pick someone new, it's tough
Yeah.
because we haven't had an off-season draft, free agency, blah 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 blah.
That's
blah.
what makes it fun, though.
Yeah,
A
Yeah.
year from now, who could it be? It's not going to be Carolina because they'll lose in the conference finals again.
yeah.
And Dallas seems to be like there's rumors that Jason Robertson's on the block.
Yeah,
Wyatt
they've got so much
Johnston's
cash, they
name's
could
gone up.
sign
Like
whoever they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I apologize for putting you on the spot, but
no.
maybe I'll give you a more
No.
true answer. Yeah,
You know what? Here you go. This is gonna be a very bold take. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say the Minnesota Wild with all that cap space they have, I
Yeah.
think they could be a really legit contender next year.
yeah, I actually like that pick because if they can get a full healthy season out of Kirill the Thrill, then
Oh,
they're set. Especially if they sign another scorer or something like that. I mean, it's a solid team, yeah, and they got a good goalie.
If they can
Yeah.
get like a legit top six centerman to pair with Eriksson Ek, I mean, who knows what's going
What
on with
about-
Marco Rossi?
yeah, I was going to say, what if Rossi leaves, though?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, but you're going to get a bunch of assets back if you trade him because he's a 60
True.
point 20. What is he? 22, 21 years old. So, yeah, and they've got a ton of cap space because those Suter and Parise buyouts are off the block now. There's $14 million in dead cap this last year, so that's gone. So yeah, I mean, if you got $14 million in dead cap and you're able to be a legit playoff team, I think when that clears up, you can really turn your next season around.
I have no idea. If not Florida, who the hell would come out of the East? All of these teams have questions.
The New Jersey Devils when they get Quinn Hughes this offseason.
Honestly, that's what I wasn't looking at that trade, but I was like, who could take that jump? And it was probably the Devils because I feel like they're gonna have to make some moves just because they've been kind of in the same spot the last few years.
Yeah, Devils definitely could.
What about
Carolina
your
could.
Montreal Canadiens?
They're a couple years away from the finals.
Ivan Demidov?
Demidov, they've been rumored to pick up Rossi. If they do that, I might say they could be a sleeper for a deep run.
They'd be so small, though.
That's true. Get a big defenseman maybe.
Nobody
They do
likes
need
small. Yeah.
they need a number 2 D man.
Yeah, you know what also is
Yeah.
interesting too about picking teams in that? I don't really know who to pick out of the West even. My
I was going
default
to say sorry.
Go ahead.
No, sorry. I just completely cut you off.
My default is always the Colorado Avalanche just because of McKinnon and McCarr.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the Pacific, not that they're going to make runs, but like the Sharks and the Ducks are going to definitely make strides. And you could see this whole division kind of, not the Oilers, but kind of maybe flip around a bit.
Oh, and I could see Utah making the playoffs
Yeah.
next year. Like, they were in contention. They're such a young team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole
they got
Pacific
a name.
division is going to be wild. The whole West is wild. If I
Wild
chose a team
West.
from the West, I'd choose Vegas. I like the defensive structure that they have. They always will do some crazy crap in the offseason, pick up Mitch Marner somehow, and apparently he learned how to play in the playoffs. East, I'll go Carolina. I just said it won't be them, but they're close. They're the only team that's consistently close. They just need a superstar, really.
They had one and they traded him away.
Hey, Rantanen made it just as far as the Carolina Hurricanes.
He did, yeah. And now they're stuck with him. Not that that's a bad thing, but they're going to have to make some other cuts then.
Yeah. Jacob and I talked about this last time we were on. Where do you think Mitch Marner goes?
I don't think it's Toronto, and I don't think it's... I just don't... I think they have to move in a different direction. It's just been stale for so long. If I'm looking right now, I imagine he stays on the East. If I blindly pick it, I'll blindly pick it. Based, okay. I don't know cap space or nothing. Bold take, Philadelphia Flyers. He's gonna stay East Coast. They gotta turn the. I don't know what you would. I don't even know the saying I'm looking for. You gotta turn the page. You gotta turn the page at some point. They got a new head coach in. Horrible head coach, by the way. Actually, sorry. He'll be great for the first 2 seasons. They're gonna make the playoffs next year, and then after that's gonna get stale. I just don't like. I mean, Philly's kind of a big market, but yeah, I don't know who's going to want to pay for him. Who's going to pay for a guy who can't play in the playoffs?
Well, I got to ask you. You don't like Tocchet. Is Mitch Marner going to be a Tocchet player?
No,
I think he can be. I don't think he's uncoachable, but I don't. Yeah,
but he's not that physical guy.
He's not a Marner. Yeah. He's not a no, but he can penalty kill and he can do it all. So I think there's a spot for him. It's not an ideal fit, but I just don't really see where else he fits in. Because I'm trying to keep him on the East Coast. I don't think he goes west, but I don't know if the Capitals have any room to try and make a push. But
he needs to go to a small market where there's no pressure.
Yeah, I don't think it's the pressure though. I just don't think he just doesn't have that physical skill set, or some guys just aren't. I'm not saying he's not born with that drive, but that put their body on the line and they just know how to. These guys in the playoffs that are great just know how to dig deeper when they need to.
But he scored the overtime winning goal against Sweden in the Four Nations face-off.
Well,
the clutchest goal in international history.
Blind squirrel.
Not Connor McDavid's goal. That was 2 games later.
Didn't he assist that goal too? The McDavid.
Yeah, he did. There you go. He's the clutchest player of all time.
So they just got to get him McDavid.
So is it Matthews' fault then? He's the playmaker and Matthews just can't score?
Yeah, there you go.
Who would you? Here we're going on a rant here. Who would you rather have on your team? You're starting a team, Matthews or Marner?
Marner.
I would rather have Matthews.
I'd rather Matthews just.
The guy almost had 70 goals.
Yeah, he's a goal
That's
scorer.
That's true. I just said Marner because he does. He plays better defense, a better playmaker,
That's
better
fair.
200-foot player.
Yeah, but you can go Matthews and then Philip Deneau as your second line.
Well,
center.
that wasn't the question.
You failed.
The question
You're not
was
going to get
Matthews and Marner. You're like, well, Philip Deneau.
You're not going to get the Canucks GM job after this season, so. Maybe you'll get the PWHL GM position. They're still hiring.
No, they're both hired. Those
they
spots
hired
are filled. Yeah.
Okay.
Protection list came out today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a name for the Vancouver team?
No, they're just PWHL Vancouver right now.
Oh, okay. Are they going to get a name before the season?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it, but I'll reach out to some sources and find
Your
out.
people, you'll reach out to your people.
Yeah, I'll reach out to my people within the PWHL and see if I can find out anything. My people in the PWHL might get drafted by Vancouver, it sounds like.
Okay. Is your person local?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I thought it was interesting, too, this whole time we're talking about the final series, and Leon Draisaitl was not mentioned once.
I mention him.
Okay. Well, see, I'm not listening to you guys. But, yeah, he's definitely...
Let him host.
He's obviously an X factor, and yeah, now that's what I'm talking about, that extra gear in the playoffs and that grit and willing to put everything on the line to win. It's kind of that, like how Ovechkin was in 2019, right? Whatever it takes. So,
well, and one thing, Draisaitl was not healthy last year in the Stanley Cup final. Mm-hmm. He could barely move. He could barely skate. This year, he's a lot healthier. I think that's going to make a huge difference for the Oilers in this series.
Same with Evander Kane. He missed the back half of the finals.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, and now they're missing out on Hyman though,
That's true.
Yeah. But
which we also didn't mention.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a big loss, but sometimes it is also a rallying point, especially before this series. It's not like it happened mid-series and you're down. They've had time to console with themselves or whatever, and it can be a rallying point for them actually, because they know, okay, other guys, coaches already said this to them, other guys are going to have to step up. Like, it's next man up. The show goes on. So,
Great
anywho,
song.
the show goes on. Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah, there you go.
Sounds like episode complete. This is episode 3 of Hockey Talk by Horizon Media. We will be back probably soon. We'll be back.
We'll
It'll
be back
be
after
soon.
the finals. There'll be some off-season content.
It'll be for sure after the finals, if not, during the finals.
We'll be getting in here during the finals unless it's like a 4-game sweep.
We'll be around.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening. At Horizon dot media underscore
Horizon dot media.
underscore Horizon dot media.
We got to figure out how to fix that username.
Yeah, and we'll get an actual script for the next show. That
We'll
I
make
can
sure
follow.
you know what episode it is too.
You guys how about you guys tell us in the comments who would you like us to host the next episode? You guys get the choice.
Well, you never introduced who anyone was, so they won't
That's
know our
also
names.
true. That's also true. Hopefully the names are on the screen. This was my first time hosting, so it's A for effort. And the ship was mostly, or the train was mostly on the tracks, as some would say. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in.